be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.
What's the deal? What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday. Hope you all are doing well. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. Pull up a seat. Hope you enjoyed the content. And before we get into this video, I want to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe. Go ahead and tap that bell while you're at it so you're notified anytime I drop a brand new video, go live, or schedule a premiere. All right, y'all. So today we got the thighs on deck. We got Thighstop in the house. Okay, I'm excited about this. I have a 3-piece spicy Korean thighs bone in, and I have some lemon pepper boneless thighs. I have some corn off to the side, and I have lemon pepper and Parmesan on the corn, and I got veggies, I got ranch, I got buffalo sauce, all that good stuff. So I'm ready. This food been looking at me, I've been looking at it. I'm ready to go in. So let's go ahead and start off with, let me start with these boneless ones. Lemon pepper, boneless, they nice and crunchy. Gotta put it in the ranch. This ranch is classic. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and try one of these bone-in spicy Korean. I'm hungry, y'all. All right. I'm here for the thighs. I don't usually eat thighs, but I ain't mad at them either. You know what I'm saying? Well, I was so wrapped up in making sure I had a gang of ranch because I love their ranch. I forgot to get like a dipping sauce or some extra sauce on the side for my boneless ones. So I got some buffalo sauce that I had at the house. So a little buffalo, a little ranch. It's really good. Got the corn. I was telling you, got lemon pepper and Parmesan on it. Shout out to Tasha. She the one put me on that. I didn't know you could put different flavor on the corn. I had no idea. I found that out while we was in Vegas. So thank you for letting me know. So what I realized is I really want to scale back on eating meat significantly, and I am. But I am going to allow myself to eat meat probably like once or twice a week if I have the urge to. I definitely had the urge to. That's why I went ahead and got WINGSTOP. But I'm not going to be excessive with meat. Like, I'm not going to be eating it every single day. I don't even want it like that, honestly. But I was craving some chicken, so I was like, let me try the WINGSTOP, you know, the thighs. So, but I have stepped my veggies up significantly, and I'm happy about that. I didn't get any fries. Their fries are good, but they make me really, really full. So that's why I didn't get them. All right. So as y'all can see from the title, we got another story time going. Shout out to everybody that showed me a grip of love. Y'all showed me so much love on the last story time. Thank y'all so much. Y'all went in the comments. And that's why I'm back with another one, because y'all got me hyped. Y'all got me hyped to tell another story time, y'all. So 2 story times in 1 week. Let's do it. So I'm going to ask something to y'all. And what I want to say is that, you know, I love creating the videos, especially the story times. Those are something special to me. And I can tell when my notifications aren't going out to people. And they're not. So I just want to ask two things of you. If you enjoyed the story time, share it with somebody. I don't care who it is, one person, 5 people. Share it with somebody else so they too can watch and be entertained by the stories. Share it on your Facebook page. Share it on Twitter. Share it on, I don't care where you share it, anywhere. Group chat, doesn't matter. So number one, share anything that you like, any kind of content that I create, share it, you know, and that goes with any other content creator that you enjoy as well. Share the content like you wouldn't believe how much of an impact and how helpful it is. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I haven't asked y'all to do this in a long time, but please watch the ads. Please, 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 like at least 30 seconds of it. That helps me to continue to create content. It does. You know, if you enjoy it, I want to continue to deliver it. I want to continue, you know, having the time and the resources to do it. So yeah. Watch the ads. I know it interrupts the flow. I get it. But that is how it's a part of my income. So help me out, y'all. I appreciate it. You know, that's the two things I want to ask of y'all. So share and watch the ads. So thank you. I'm going to eat a couple more bites. And then I'm about to go ahead and get into the story time because I kind of feel like it's going to be long. I kind of feel like it's going to be kind of long. I'm surprised at how good this is. I mean, not surprised, but I don't know. I'm just not a thigh kind of girl, you know? All right, y'all. So I'm ready for the story time. If eating is your thing, the first part of the video was for you. And if story time is your thing, the rest of the video is for you. I moved the food out of the way because it's just much easier to tell a story while I'm not eating. So the eating is done. All right, so I have done a collab with the members. So shout out to all the members. I made a post on the community tab for the members for us to collab again for another story time. So I use elements from different members and I'm gonna shout each one of you out. And I appreciate all of you that responded to the post and gave me some great ideas. And I will probably use some of the elements that you gave me in the future that are not being used for this one. But I use elements from and ideas given by Lakatia, Tanya, Jennifer, Miss Brandy, my roomie, and is that it? I think hopefully that's everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, so this is gonna be, I guess it'll be like a crime story time. This is a fiction. This is a fiction story. I want to make that very clear. This is not based on anything that I've seen in the news or any stories I've ever heard. This is just something I created based on elements that were given by the members. They gave me location, plot, character names, that kind of thing. All right, so let's get into it. So this story is pretty much based on Nia and Olivia. Nia and Olivia are identical twins. All right, so I know in most instances twin sisters or twins are usually pretty close. Now when they grew up, they were pretty close. You know, their mother died when they were younger and their father is who raised them. And you know, as they were getting older, you know, teenagers and stuff like that, you know, Olivia started to notice that their father was like favoring Nia more, you know, and she felt like Nia was being treated like the favorite. You know what I'm saying? That she would kind of get passed over by certain things. She would bring this up and her father would always, their dad would always say like, nah, like it's not like that. I love you guys the same. It's impossible for me to have a favorite. I would never do that. You know, please stop saying that. You know, I love you guys equally. And again, I treat you guys the same. So this was like hanging over her for a long time. And unfortunately, this started to like put a strain on their relationship as sisters. You know, she started to get really, really jealous of Nia. And eventually, their father passed away. So their father passed away about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And he had a $1.5 million life insurance policy. Now, when he passed away, of course, you know, in Nia's mind, it was going to be distributed evenly. So she was going to get $750 and Nia would get $750, so down the middle. But she only got $500,000 and Nia got $1 million. So for her, that really sealed the deal in her mind that like, you know what, my father really did favor her over me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gave her more money. Like, he's looking out for her even in his afterlife. You know what I'm saying? He still cares about her more than he cares about me. So she's kind of really been harboring that forever. You know what I'm saying? That's been bothering her. And that's put more of a strain on their relationship. So fast forward to present day. Nia is in Thailand. She's in Thailand on a solo vacation. She has been working all these long hours, got this promotion. So she's on a solo trip. And as she was planning the solo trip, you know, her and Olivia were talking And, you know, Olivia was telling her like, hey, you know, I'm going to be in Miami. You know, her husband, Carlos, she was like, you know, Carlos, her husband's name is Carlos, I'm sorry. And she was like, Carlos is going to have some work he has to do in Miami for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. You know, when you're done with Thailand, why don't you just stop by in Miami, you know, before you go home? And, you know, Nia thinks this is a good idea because it's like their relationship is not bad. But again, I think as identical twins, they should be, you know, people would suspect that they would be a lot closer than they are. So she thinks this is a great opportunity for them to get some quality time together. They live in different areas. Nia lives in Washington and Olivia lives in Arizona. So she's like, yeah, I'm going to come by. You know, I'm going to extend my time off of work. I want us to be able to hang out. She's like, I know Carlos is going to be really busy. I don't want you to be by yourself. You know, I know you have friends there, but yeah, I'll come by. So she makes her way from Thailand. She lands in Miami and Olivia gets her an Uber. You know, she's like, I'm going to take care of all your Ubers while you're here in the city visiting me because I'm so happy that you came to spend time with me. So she sends an Uber to her sister and, you know, she gets dropped off at the house. She gets there. She gets a warm welcome. You know, Olivia runs to her sister. They're so excited to see each other. Nia's happy to see Carlos. And the crazy thing is like Nia actually hooked Carlos and Olivia up. So she always had a great relationship with Carlos, always. So she sees Carlos, you know, they have all these jokes and stuff or whatever. So it feels really good to just be with her family, you know, really good to see her sister, really good to see her brother-in-law. So, you know, she immediately sees her favorite drinks are laid out on the counter, her favorite snacks, like, you know, it's just a warm welcome and they get right to it, you know, and Carlos is just kind of like, well, I got to run to the office to get some work done. And, you know, Olivia's like, are you serious? Like, come on, you know, Nia just got in town. He's like, I know, but you already know how demanding this project has been. I have to go to the office. So she's like, all right, cool. So they, you know, that gives them time to just catch up one-on-one. So she's telling her about her trip to Thailand, you know, what she did, the food that she tried, the animals that she saw, the excursions that she went on, talked about the weather, talked about going to the beach, like everything. So, you know, so Olivia is just living through Nia because she's never been to Thailand before. So they talking, drinking, laughing, you know, whatever. And about 2 hours goes by and Carlos calls and he's like, hey, babe, you know, I'm still at the office. I'll be home shortly. So she's like, okay, no problem. They still living it up, talking or whatever. So Carlos makes his way home. And, you know, they're like, well, since you home, it's time for you to start drinking. Like, don't think you're not off the hook. You're not about to have my first night in town and you're not having a drink with me. So she makes him drink. You know, they all have a good time. And that's it. They call it a night. It's like 1, 2 in the morning. They call it a night. And Carlos has to get up early to go to work. And, you know, they going to get up and figure out what they're going to do for the next day because they just chilling. They don't have any plans, right? So Carlos gets up next day, goes to work, and the girls get up. You know, they have breakfast. They cook together. They eat together. And Olivia's like, you know what? I think we should go to this new bar. There's this new bar that a couple of my friends have been telling me about. You know, I got a couple of old college friends that live out here, and they've been telling me about this bar that's popping. So I think we should go to their happy hour. You know, this is the spot. Like, this is the spot. She's like, all right, I'm with it. Let's do it. Let's get out. Let's have a good time. So, you know, the day goes on. It's about, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock. They make their way to the bar. They pull up in an Uber and the line is around the corner. But of course, Olivia notices her friends at the front of the line. They go ahead and go to her girls when they get out of the Uber and they meet up with them. You know, whoever doesn't know Nia meets Nia. She meets the friends. It's an introduction. It's a warm welcome. And they're just excited about getting ready to get into this bar. So the friends go in first. Then Olivia goes in. Now it's time for Nia. Nia is at the security stand. Like, you can't even get into the bar without being without being carded first. So she realizes she doesn't have her ID. And so she's looking at Olivia. Olivia's looking at Nia, and they're looking at the security like, come on, like we're twins. Like, I know you can see we have the same face. We got the same haircut. Like, everything about us is the same. And so he's looking like, yeah, I can tell that you guys are twins, but you guys are 2 different people. So if you're 2 different people, I need 2 different IDs. And so she's like, come on, you gonna make her go all the way back home for her ID? And he's like, yeah, I am. I'm not about to get fired for you just because you forgot your ID. And so she like, damn. So, all right, she's like, whatever. So Olivia's like, let me call you an Uber, go to the house, get your ID and come right back. So Nia's like, all right. So she gets in the Uber and, you know, they're not that far. You know, the bar is not that far from where they're staying. And they're staying in this condo that Carlos's job is paying for. So it's about 10, 15 minutes away. So she gets there. She has the key to let herself in. And she lets herself in. Now, when they left, Carlos wasn't there. But when she opens the door, Carlos is there. He's sitting in the living room. He's like hunched over. And she's like, Carlos? Like, she's making sure he's okay. And he kind of like props up and he's like, yeah. And she's like, everything okay? He's like, yeah, nah, I'm good. Everything's good. And he kind of slumps back over. And so she hears him making noise, and she walks over and she realizes that he's snorting. He's snorting a line. I won't say the word, but y'all know he's snorting the line of that white stuff. You know what I'm talking about, right? And she's like, Carlos, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing what I always do. And she's like, you're doing this in your house? You're doing this out in the open? Like, what are you doing? Like, I can't believe this. And she's like, why are you tripping? He was like, I don't know why you tripping, making a big deal about it. It's not that serious. And he just continues snorting like she's not standing there, right? So she's just in disbelief, looking at him, disappointed. Like, she's like, I cannot believe you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Olivia's going to be so disappointed. And he was like, Olivia knows. She was like, Olivia does not know. He was like, no, she knows. I promise you. She does it with me sometimes too. And she's like, yeah, right. So she pulls her phone out and she starts recording Carlos just in case he tries to deny the fact that he was in the house snorting, right? So she has the phone out and she's right on his face recording him. He just going in. Like, he looking at the camera. He's laughing. He is high as hell, y'all. He is high. Right? He looking at the camera, hey babe, like, you know, whatever. He's not shying away from nothing. So Nia's kind of stuck. She like, what? So now, you know, Nia gets her ID, you know what I'm saying? She's like still like in disbelief. She go ahead and sends Olivia a text message like, hey, I'm ready to go. Olivia sends an Uber. The Uber gets her to the bar and she gets right back into the bar easily. You know, the security lets her right in once she shows her ID. And she finds, you know, Olivia finds a group of friends. And she just kind of like stuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's still processing, like, she's so disappointed in Carlos. Like, I can't believe this. And my sister too, like, come on, really? And so Olivia just living it up. She drinking, she doing karaoke, she having the time of her life. She's singing and screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, she's having fun. She doesn't even realize that Nia is out of it, right? So eventually, you know what I'm saying, there's drinks on the table waiting for Nia and she hasn't touched them. So Olivia's like, you all right? And Nia's like, I mean, do you know Carlos snorts? And Olivia's like, yeah, I know he does. Yes, I know he does. You caught him doing it when you went home? And she's like, yeah, I did. Like, you know that he does this? So she pulls up on the phone, you know, shows the video that she captured at the house. And Olivia's like, put that away. Like, yes, I know he does it, you know. And Nia's like, you do it too? And she's like, I do it every now and then. It's not that big of a deal. You know, he just started doing it a couple weeks ago. You know, maybe the last 4 or 5 weeks he started it. You know, he hasn't been lying about it. He brought it to my attention, told me that it helps him when he's under high pressure, you know, situations, when he's stressed out at work. He has a bunch of deadlines. He's traveling a lot. Like, it's no big deal. He's not addicted. And neither am I. You know what I'm saying? Stop making it a big deal. Let's just have fun. And she's just like, are you serious? Now, mind you, Olivia just goes off back to having a good time, like they weren't just talking about what they were talking about. And Nia really just can't snap out of it because she's like, she's really disappointed in her sister. She just expects her not to be this, don't be that girl. You know what I'm saying? And so she's just like, out of it. So Nia is just over it. Like, she just is so disappointed in her sister, disappointed in Carlos. Like, this is a lot going on, and she just wants to call it a night. She wants to climb in bed and just go to sleep and just start anew tomorrow, right? So she's like, yo, I'm ready to go. And so, you know, Olivia's like, all right, cool. If you're ready to go, I'll call you an Uber. So she goes outside with her, waits for the Uber to pull up, checks out the license plate. Everything is all good. She watches her sister get in the car. There's a middle-aged man that is the driver. You know, he comes out, opens the door, wait for her to get in. She climbs into the backseat of the SUV and she's on her way. And, you know, the guy is just, you know, the driver's checking on her, making sure she's okay. You know, do you want some water? She's like, no, I'm good. He's like, do you want the air conditioner on? Do you want the window rolled down? She's like, the air conditioner's fine. And so he's like, how about the music? Is there something you want to listen to in particular? A certain album, a certain station? She's like, whatever you play is fine. He's like, okay, I'm sorry with all the questions. One last thing, do you want to charge your phone? And so she looks at her phone and she's like, well, my phone is kind of low. So he kind of like, there's like a charging station, but like her phone rests in the middle of the like a console that's in the middle of the car. So her phone isn't with her. It's like sitting on the console charging or whatever, like in the middle. So they're going, you know, and she's just zoned out, just thinking, because she's like, man, maybe this trip to Miami was a bad idea. I should have just took my ass home after Thailand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get mixed up in anything. I don't even want to know Olivia and Carlos like that. Like, if that's their thing, I just hate that I know. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, I also hate that my sister is that girl. Like, that ain't even her. You know what I'm saying? Carlos getting her mixed up and stuff or whatever. Whoever got him mixed up in it or whatever. And she just overthinking, y'all. She's thinking about all this stuff or whatever. But she's on the flip side. She's like, me being in Miami is a good thing. You know, I need to see my sister. We live in 2 different states. We've had this strained relationship. And, you know, this time could be really good for us. So she just zoned out, looking out the window and stuff like that, right? So, you know, she's looking up. And it's not like she knows Miami like the back of her hand. But she knows it well enough, right? And she's looking and she's like, I'm sorry, are we going the wrong way? And the driver doesn't say anything. She's like, sir, we're going the wrong direction. Like, we need to turn around. He doesn't say anything. So she's looking, and she also notices that her phone is not on the middle console anymore. She's like, sir, my phone? And he doesn't say anything. This man just keeps on driving. He doesn't flinch, right? And so now she's starting to freak out. So she kind of sits up in the seat. She's looking around like, okay. And she kind of reaches for the door. You know, she's trying to be discreet. Her hand slides up to the door handle and she flips it and realizes that the door is not opening. The child lock is on. So she's like, hello, sir, can you please stop the car? And he doesn't say anything. And now she's starting to like yell and like get really loud. And all he does is turn the music up and drown her out. So she's now starting to bang on the window, hoping that somebody will hear her, see her, right? But nobody can see her, nobody can hear her. Where they are is kind of secluded. It's not a whole lot of cars, but then also the SUV is tinted. The tinted windows, can't nobody see in, you can only see out. So she's banging, banging, banging. Now she's starting to scream at the top of her lungs. He turns the music down. He's like, I need you to shut the fuck up. I need you to shut up, okay? You hear me? And she does as she's told. He turns the music back up. And now she's just sitting there. Her body is shaking. Her eyes are bulging. She's nervous. She's worried. She's scared. Like, where is he taking her? What is happening? What is going on right now? What is about to happen? Is she about to, what is about to happen? So she's just sitting, like trying to look at the, you know, the buildings that they're passing, trying to look at the street names. But it's like she can't process anything. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all happening so fast. You know, she's thinking like what she could have done different. Like everything is just flashing before her eyes, right? So then they pull up to the secluded area. It's like this industrial looking area. They pull up and he parks the SUV. And there is 2 men and 1 woman dressed in all black waiting. You know, they're waiting outside. And they open the doors. And when they do, they pull her out. You know, they cover her mouth up and they tie her hands up. And they put a bag over her head or like something really dark over her head. And they get her inside. You know, she feels herself walking inside. They haven't drugged her or anything. So she hears all these different noises and stuff as she's walking. And they're telling her where to go, telling her to step up and stuff like that or whatever. And when she doesn't step up, they lift her up. And eventually she feels herself she's pushed down in a chair. And they take the bag off of her head. And when they do, she's sitting in the middle of a room. Now, there's not much in this room. And, you know, she sees the people that, you know, were standing outside when she pulled up in the SUV. She doesn't see the driver, but she sees the woman and the 2 men. And then she hears footsteps. They sound like heels. So she hears the heels and they're getting closer and closer, these footsteps. Closer and closer and closer and closer. And then eventually she sees a woman. Now this is a woman in her mid-50s as well. You know, she's in great shape. She has this black dress on, it's clinging to her body. She's smoking a cigarette. Her hair is pinned up and she's just walking. She walks in kind of slow. You know what I'm saying? But she walks in with a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence with this slow strut. So she walks in and she's like looking at her, you know, just examining Nia, kind of pacing back and forth a little bit. And then she's like, do you know why you're here? And, you know, Nia's mouth is covered. So she just sits there. She's like, do you know why you're here? And then she shakes her head like this, you know, indicating like, I have no idea. And she's like, your husband, Carlos, has got himself into a bit of a pickle, you know. Carlos is, you know, he's mixed in with the wrong people. You know, he's been, you know, working for us. And this is the cartel. You know, I'm part of the cartel. I'm the boss of this cartel. And he's been doing some work for us for the last 6 months. Now, the first 6 months, he started off great. You know, he did everything we asked him to do. He did it smoothly. He did it quickly. He did it quietly. But these last couple of weeks, he's gotten very messy. He's gotten real, real messy. And now this shit is about to catch up to him. So, you know, he owes us $500,000. I gave him a 3-day extension. And now I haven't heard from him. You know, and I shouldn't have to chase after him calling him. He owes me the money. He owes us $500,000. Okay. So I want my money. And since he hasn't delivered that money, I told him that I was going to start coming for the things that he cared about most. So I figured I would start with you. So, of course, you know, this boss lady, you know, at the cartel, she thinks that she has Carlos's wife, right? Because his wife is a twin, but she don't know that she has the twin, right? So Nia is just freaking out. Her body is just shaking. She's just shaking because she can't believe that she's in this situation. Like, how did this happen? What is going on, right? So she's sitting there listening or whatever, and she's just like, so, you know, your husband has 4 hours to get me $500,000. And I need my money. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he got an extension, and I just feel like that he ain't going to make it. So let me go ahead and call him. Let's call him so he can see that I'm not playing. We're not playing with him. You know, I don't know what he thinks this is. This is not a game. So the boss lady, she grabs her phone, and she calls Carlos. All right, so first she calls him. It doesn't answer. Like, it rings a couple of times and goes to voicemail. And she was like, this is the shit I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. When I call, he needs to pick up. So she calls again, FaceTimes him again. It goes to voicemail immediately. She was like, all right, okay. Your husband got 72 hours, but if he don't pick up this third time, I'm going to kill you. So you better hope that he picks up the phone. So she calls a third time. He answers. Now, when he answers the phone is pointed directly at Nia. And all he sees is her shivering body. He sees that her mouth is taped up. And he's like, babe, he's like, what is going on? Where are you? He's like, what's going on? Babe. He was like, what the fuck is happening? What's going on? Right? And then boss lady turned the phone around and she was like, hey, Carlos, why you didn't pick up the phone when I called a second ago? Why would you send me the voicemail? He was like, okay, how did you get my wife? And she's like, don't worry about all that. I told you to stop playing with me. I gave you 3 days. I haven't heard from you. I need my money or my product. So which one are you going to give to me? You know what I'm saying? You got 4 hours. He was like, okay, well, I'll have the money to you. Like, I need a little bit more time. She's like, I gave you a little bit more time. I told you you had 3 days and that's it. I told you to stop playing. This is not the kind of game you want to play. He was like, well, okay, click. She just hangs up in his face, right? So he's freaking out. He gets up and he's like, oh my God, oh shit. So he's starting to scramble, get his stuff together. He's trying to figure out a plan. He snorts a line real quick because he doesn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So he don't have all the money. He has part of the money, not all of it. And he don't have the product. So the product, he's been using it. He's been giving some of it away. He just been like assing around, basically. You know what I'm saying? Not doing what he was supposed to do. He's gotten real sloppy, real messy, and just been high as hell, making bad decisions, you know, and it's caught up to him. All right, so Carlos is in the house and he is just losing it. Like I said, just pacing back and forth, right? So as he's doing all of this, like trying to figure out what he's going to do to get this $150,000 so he can get this $500,000 over to the cartel, he's pacing back and forth. And all of a sudden he hears these keys jingling at the door. He's like, well, who the hell is that? So the door opens and it's Olivia. And he's like, babe? She's like, yeah. Why do you look surprised that I'm here? What are you doing? Because he looks a mess, y'all. He's sweating. His hair is all over his head. He got powder on his nose. His shirt is all messed up. Like, he just looks a fucking mess. He look a mess. So she's like, what are you in here doing? He was like, I'm just, you know, thinking about a couple things or whatever. And she was like, are you high? And he's like, I mean, kind of, yeah. And she was like, where's Nia at? So he's like processing. He's so high that he's like realizing that the cartel has his sister-in-law. They don't actually have his wife. So he's just like, Nia, I don't know where Nia is. She never came back to the house. And he's like, nah, she didn't. She never came back to the house. I've been here the whole time. She never came back. Like I saw her earlier, but she never came back. And so she's like, well, why don't you go get yourself together? Maybe she'll be back in a second, but go get yourself together. Go get in the shower. So he goes and gets in the shower, and he's in the shower thinking like, what the hell am I going to do? How are we going to get Nia back? How am I going to get this money? I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? So at this point, Olivia has no idea what's going on. All she's on at this point is trying to figure out where Nia is. So she calls her phone. The phone goes to voicemail. So she's like, I mean, she didn't mention going anywhere else. And the Uber was only supposed to just drop her off at the house. Right? So she looks at the Uber app and the app is giving her an error. So she can't see her account. She doesn't know if, you know what I'm saying, if Nia was dropped off at the house or not. She's like, well, Nia does have a couple of like old friends in Miami. Maybe she's out with them. I don't know. Maybe she came back to the house and then maybe left out with them. I have no idea. But, you know, Carlos said he never saw her. But hell, he's high. So maybe she did come home and he just didn't see her. I don't know. So she's confused and continuing to call Nia's phone. And then finally, Carlos comes back. He's cleaned himself up, but he still just looks weird. So about an hour or two have gone by now. And now this means there's only 2 hours left before this money needs to get to the cartel before they are about to kill Nia. All right. So he knows that he's running out of time. So He finally breaks down. It's like, Olivia, I have to tell you something. And she's like, what? What's going on? Please tell me something, because you're making me nervous at this point. And he's like, okay, I kind of got myself in a situation. And she's like, okay, tell me about it. And he's like, but it's like really bad. And I didn't mean for it to happen like this. And I didn't think that it was going to be like this. We were having some financial issues. Things were getting really tight. Our savings account is wiped out. And I thought that this was going to be the answer. And she's like, okay, what is it? Are you gambling? He's like, I wish that's what I was doing. No, it's not that. Well, what is it? And he's like, all right, I started pushing weight and product for the cartel. She said, the cartel. He's like, yeah, that's why we're in Miami. That's why I've been coming so frequently. I know I have an office here, but I've been here with the product and dealing with the cartel and the money and this and that and all of that. And she's like, what? Are you serious? And he's like, yes. And, things started off great. I started off great, but the last couple of weeks, I've been just out of my mind, snorting way too much, making bad decisions. I've used some product. I've given some of it away, and I'm short. I owe them $500,000. I only have 350 of it. I need 150,000 more, and I have to give it to them within 2 hours. She said 2 hours. 2 hours? Are you serious? He's like, yes. Okay, well, if you don't give him to him in 2 hours, what's going to happen? Then his phone rings. So it's the boss lady. He got to pick the phone up. So he picks the phone up, and she's like, how's it going, Carlos? You got my money? And he just doesn't know what to say. And she sees like commotion, like she sees movement in the background. She's like, who's that in the background? And he shows his phone. He moves the phone to Olivia. And so boss lady is thrown off because she sees Nia in front of her and now sees Olivia. And he's like, oh, there are two of you. Okay, so I'm sorry, are you the wife or who's the wife? Which one is the wife? And Olivia says, I'm the wife. Ah, okay, so this is your sister. Ah, okay. So the boss lady shows the phone, turns it around to Nia. She's like, it looks like we got your sister. And that's fine. I have no problem killing her. It doesn't matter. I'm going to kill somebody, though. If I don't get my money, I know that. That's what's about to happen. And so she hangs up the phone, right? And so Olivia's like, so my sister is with the cartel? And she's like, yeah, she's with the cartel. And so now it's all making sense to Olivia. She's like, okay, so the cartel must have got involved and thought that they were getting me when it was in fact Nia in the Uber, but they hacked into my account, thought it was me. She's my identical twin sister. They thought that they had your wife. They got my sister. Oh my God, Carlos, how did you let this happen? And he's like, I know, I'm sorry. Like I should have said something. I shouldn't have done this. The opportunity presented itself and I just thought it was going to be quick and easy and things have been going well and I just messed up. She's like, you damn right you messed up. And so I said, what are we going to do? And so she's like, well, I have the $150,000. She has the money from the life insurance policy still from her dad, right? She still has that money saved. She never touched it. So she's like, I had the money, but the bank is closed. I can't get $150,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't get that kind of money in 2 hours. And she was like, well, okay, look, I have an idea, all right? But you told me not to judge you. I need you not to judge me. And he's like, I won't. We need a plan. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, the cartel don't let up. They ain't playing. So she's like, all right, so you really feel like that they gonna kill my sister? You really feel like they're gonna kill Nia in 2 hours? He's like, yes, I do. They ain't playing. This is not the group of people to be playing with. And she's like, all right, well, we're not gonna get to Nia in time, and I hate to say that, but we got to pack up and go. We got to leave. We got to get up out of here. We have to get out of here. He's like, so we just gonna leave Nia here? What else can we do? Tell me what else we could do. Do you have another plan? And he's like, no. She's like, okay then. And I'll tell you what, we'll be able to fix our finances too. So once, I hate to say this, but once they find Nia's body and they can confirm everything, her $1 million that she got from our dad's life insurance policy, that's going to go to me automatically. We'll get that money. We'll get ourselves together. We'll start over. Okay? All right? That's what we're going to do. He's like, are you sure? She's like, yes, I'm sure. What else can we do? Our back is against the wall. We have no other choice. We got to go. So they grab their bags and pack their things. She's like, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to call Brian. Brian is Carlos's best friend, and he is an FBI agent out in Boston. So he gets on the phone with Brian. He's like, Brian, look, I need a favor. You told me I can call you with anything. I can't talk over the phone. I'm on my way to Boston, but me and Olivia need a favor. And he's like, all right, I'll see you guys when you get here, right? So they rush to the airport. They get a ticket, to get to Boston. It's about 3 hours and 45 minutes, 4 hours away. They get to Boston, they touch down, they connect with Brian. They tell Brian about everything that's going on. Brian is like, how you get yourself mixed up in this? He's like, look, I don't have an answer for all of that. All I need to know, all I know is that we need help. We need help. We need a plan. That's all I know. The cartel is not going to let up. They're not going to let up. So I need help. Okay. So Brian is like, all right. Brian now has to call in some favors. So what Brian does is he takes Olivia and Carlos to one of the FBI safe houses, right? Takes them to a safe house. And what they do is they stage as if the two of them were murdered, basically. And what happens is this story makes national news that this couple was murdered. This couple named Carlos, this couple named Carlos and Olivia, they were murdered. They got a whole crime scene, y'all. They got caution tape. They got body bags coming out of this house to make it believable that they were in fact murdered, right? So it's an open investigation going on. Their friends and family are worried, freaking out, want answers, like everything, right? So after this story hits the national news, it's about 4 or 5 days later, and Carlos goes to Brian and is like, okay, so the cartel should be off our ass now. He was like, I mean, maybe, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to get ready to put y'all up in a safe house. I'm about to give you guys brand new names, brand new identities. I'm gonna put you guys away, witness protection, and that's it. Y'all gonna have to be low key, and that's it, be off the grid, basically. That's it, all right? After we've done all of this. But Carlos is like, all right, before we do that though, can I please go to my house in Phoenix? It's a couple things we gotta get. He's like, you wanna go to Phoenix? We just staged that you guys were murdered. You can't just be flying around like that. And he's like, look, we go to the airport, we'll put on sunglasses, we'll put on masks, like we'll be low key and it'll be quick. All we're gonna do is just go from Boston to Phoenix. I will come back to Boston and I will do whatever you want me to do. So he like, that's on you, man. That's on you. Go ahead. If you go back to Phoenix, you can only be in your house for like 30 minutes, all right? Make it quick. Don't just be in there hanging out. He's like, no, I promise. I'm going to go to my safe. I know exactly what I need. I'm going to grab a couple of things, and I promise that we're going to be right back to Boston. So Olivia and Carlos get tickets from Boston to Phoenix. They get back to their house. They move swiftly. They move in quickly. They start grabbing the stuff that they need. And while they're in there, they hear footsteps. So they assume that it's the cartel, right? So they're like, oh, shit. Like, they trying to hide or whatever. And so they hear a woman's voice, and she's like, no, don't hide. Like, I knew you guys were going to come back here. But the voice sounds very familiar. And then we realize that it is Nia. And they both are surprised to see Nia. They're like, Nia? They're like, yeah, it's me. Yeah, you guys left me to die. I cannot believe you guys did not come back for me. You guys left me. You didn't call. You didn't try to come give part of the money. You didn't try to negotiate. You didn't try to do anything. You guys left. How could you guys leave me like that? And so it's like, well, so the cartel, what happened? What happened? What happened? They're like, well, I mean, once the boss lady saw that I wasn't Olivia, once she realized that I wasn't Olivia, I was able to bargain with her. I told her to give me some time. I showed her my bank account. I told her that she saw that I had the money. They took me to the bank the next day. I wired them the whole $500,000 so that I could save my own life, since you guys had no plans on doing that. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry it wasn't like that. No, I know it was like that. You thought you was going to get that $1 million, huh? You thought you was going to get that $1 million. I know that you've been bitter and feeling some kind of way that you didn't get that money since Dad died, and you felt like this was your opportunity to get it, right? And of course, Olivia don't deny it, you know? And so she's like, y'all ain't no good. Y'all ain't no good. I cannot believe either one of y'all did this to me. Like, just left me to die. And look at the look on your face when you realize that I'm still here. So she goes in her pocket, she pulls out a gun. And let me say this too, she was accompanied by a guy. It's a guy with her. They don't know who he is, but it's this guy. He about 6'5". He big, he buff, and he's just towering over everybody. He's standing there next to her, right? So she pulls out a gun. They're like, what you about to do with that? You got a whole lot. You asking a whole lot of questions now. How you gonna ask a whole lot of questions now? You wasn't asking these questions and trying to do all of this when we was back in Miami, when my life was on the line. And so Carlos like, come on, put that away, Nia. Come on, Nia. Like, it ain't even like that. Like, I feel like we can get past this. And I mean, look, she's like, look, you doing a whole lot of talking. We was in this fucked up situation because of you. All of this started because of you. So I really don't want to hear your mouth. He was like, look, I really don't feel like you have it in you. Bang, bang. And she just shoot both of them, right? And their bodies just fall to the ground. And she's just like looking. I mean, it's not that she feels bad. She's more so processing. She can't really believe that she pulled the trigger for her sister, her identical twin sister, and her brother-in-law, just like that. But, you know, she felt like she had no other choice. What else was she supposed to do? And then all of a sudden we hear, ladies and gentlemen, we need you to go ahead and pull up your seats in the upright position. And please go ahead and put your trays in the upright position as well, please make sure that you have your seatbelts buckled. So we hear this, we hear the announcement is going and then it's fading, and then we realize that this was all just a dream. None of this ever happened. But Nia is on a plane leaving Thailand, going to meet her twin sister in Miami, and their relationship really is strained. Now it's not this bad, but her mind drifted off, you know, into this space while she was on the flight. And that's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the story time. That was pretty intense. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys followed along. Hopefully I said the right names. You know, I guess I'll see all of that once I'm editing, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much to the members. So tomorrow is Friday. I want you guys to come through at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for family night so we can hang out and have a good time before the weekend. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to meet me in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if you want more story times. Let me know your favorite part, that whole thing. All right. So I appreciate you guys very much. Make the best of the day. Be good to yourself. Peace.
I be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.